let's go ahead and jump in. Let me go ahead and just share my screen temporarily. So everybody should see that here in just a second. You guys all see the strategies to face coronavirus? Awesome. Cool. Well, as I mentioned before, we're very excited to be able to have everybody on today and joining us. I want to have a special thank you for Jacob for lending his time today and joining us as a panelist and sharing his story. So thanks a lot, Jacob, for joining us today.
Thank
As
you.
far
Thanks so much. Excited.
Yeah, awesome, yes too. And then as far as just kicking it off, what we can do is just start off with a quick round of intros. So if we can maybe go from left to right, Jacob, if you want to mind kicking us off, then Derek.
Sure. So as you guys see, Jacob Thomas, general manager here at Razor Sharp Fitness. We are a mom and pop club in Racine, Wisconsin. We actually have two clubs. Kind of our big club, satellite club, our big club is 47,000 square feet. Has a lap pool, therapy pool, performance area, track, gymnasium, personal training, group exercise, the full service health club here. And then we do have a satellite club about 8 miles away, 10,000 square feet, 24/7 access, weight floor, group exercise room, and locker rooms there. And so we have about 4,500 members here. And yeah, so it's a little bit about me. I've been in the fitness industry. I know we'll go through that a little bit during this as well. Fitness industry for about 13 years, and kind of started my way as a personal trainer and worked my way up to this point. So yeah.
Excellent. So I'm Derek. I'm the director of corporate health and wellness at Virtuagym. So I guess in my day-to-day role, basically what I would be doing is I would be working with our corporate wellness providers, as well as directly with employers who are looking to run some kind of employee wellness program. But kind of my task today and what I'll be doing, Kaylin already stole a bit of my thunder, but I'll be monitoring the chats and these different communication streams that Kaylin was talking about. And I'll be sure to look at your questions. If they're applicable in the moment, I'll try to bring them up kind of in the flow of the webinar. But if not, don't worry, we'll have that 15-minute period, like Kaylin said at the end, where we'll be able to bring kind of up miscellaneous questions. So if you haven't already done it, it'd be interesting to see where everyone's joining us from. So I already see New Jersey, Oklahoma, Oregon, Los Angeles, to name a few. So feel free to add on to those.
Awesome. And then my name is Kalen Pino. I am the head of the U.S. market here for Virtuagym, and will be, the host of the webinars. Today, we're going to be changing up the agenda a little bit if you've joined us for past webinars. And so what we're going to do different this time is, as you saw from the introductions, today we have one panelist, and we're really excited because this means that we're actually going to be able to spend some time really diving into and understanding what Jacob is currently doing in order to work through the circumstances that COVID has thrown at us. But additionally, the thing that we're going to do different that's special this time is we're going to shed some light on his journey through fitness as a trainer into operations, and hear a little bit about his future plans. So in our this has come from just what we've seen in past webinars. We've seen that we've captured audiences in all stages of their fitness career. And so in addition to, the content that'll help you navigate the circumstances that COVID has provided, we're hoping that today we'll be able to also help in planning the next steps within your journey in fitness as a business, whether you're a brand new trainer or an owner of a facility or an owner of multiple facilities, and have been in the industry for 20 plus years. Try and make this relevant for everybody. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing my screen now, and we can go ahead and jump into the meat and potatoes. So want to first start off, as you guys saw, jumping into your background, Jacob. As far as how you've got into fitness. Remember you were saying that you've been working in fitness for 13 years. What were you doing before, and what was that process like?
Sure. So just before that, graduated college, and I found the fitness industry kind of from there, and so it's been my first and only career.
Oh wow! So what did you study? Personal training then?
No, so I went to
Huh?
school for athletic training, And upon my graduation, I had a job lined up, local high school, and I actually interned with the athletic trainer there, and so I was supposed to take over his role as the athletic trainer of that high school. And found out a week before I was really supposed to start the job that I didn't pass my board exam. So I was like, well, I guess I have to do something until I can take my next board exam and get this lined up and ready to go. I had everything ready. I had supplies, my bag, outfits. I went literally. I went to all the lengths to be ready to go. And so I was like, well, I got some time. I want a flexible schedule. Let's try to see if I can be a personal trainer somewhere. Still utilize my background in athletic training, and I found a gym really close to my alma mater, Foreman Fitness, and started off as a personal trainer there.
Okay. And what was how did you land, that first job then? I know that this must be, we're talking about things that are 13 years ago, but it's definitely great in order to see where you are now. But I think it's great to kind of shed light on where things started. What was your thinking at that point?
Yeah, when it first happened, I was like, hey, I just need something to get. I need to pay some rent and, be able to just be able to study and get ready for the real, what I thought was the real chapter of my life, which was going to be athletic training, and be able to have that flexible schedule, still pretend a little bit like I was in college, hang out with my college buddies and, do those kind of things. And when I got to Foreman Fitness, they had a physical therapy company inside of there as well. So the owner of Foreman Fitness was a physical therapist. So I thought it was really good to be able to learn some of the physical therapy world, maybe get a little of that information under my belt as well. And then they also had sports performance there, which has always been kids and sports have always been a passion of mine. So it was this Parisi Speed School inside of there. So I was really drawn towards that place, and thankfully they were looking for a trainer at that time and came on board. But I solely came on as a personal trainer when I first started. It was only personal training. They didn't want me really doing much else because they really needed somebody in that space. So I got started there, and really after a couple months, somebody didn't show up to teach a sports performance class, and I wanted to I was like, I can teach it. I've been watching it. I've been, learning about it, and I didn't have many clients or anything like that. So I was like, let me jump in, and I did it. And sure enough, after that time, then they wanted me to be a part of the sports performance world. And that's really what took off for me, and really got me excited to be in the fitness industry. I was still studying for my exam, ended up passing it about a year later, and I still have my ATC cert, but ultimately everything for me turned into fitness when I really got into the sports performance world.
Interesting. And at that point, if you look back and reflect on what your goals were going into sports performance and compare it now, I imagine that your goals were probably much different then versus, your goals now. But what were your goals that you had in mind, when you first started your career, and how did that evolve and change?
Yeah, when I first started it, I just wanted to learn, and I just wanted to understand what people have given to me for a long time in regards to improving my performance and how to be a good athlete, and really how to have a good role model. I thought was really important to me, and I always wanted to be. I gave time when I was in high school and when I was younger to local schools, local elementary schools, and taught physical education classes, and did those kind of things. I love that stuff. So how I could be really a good role model, that was my initial real thought process in there. I didn't think about money at that time. I didn't think about much else. It was really just how I wanted to be involved in that world.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting because, I think with many people who first join personal training, uh, it's not one of the stickiest careers, I guess you can put it in. And many people first jump in with ambitions of being able to start up, go into training, and they set up a variety of different goals, whether it's going out and training on their own or potentially going and becoming a fitness director, general manager. And a lot of times that you don't exactly see everybody following that career progression and going following along that path. Is there any tips and tricks and learnings that maybe you would share with a new trainer who's aspiring to move into management and progress within their career? And how would you break down that process and make sure that they have the wherewithal to stick it through?
Sure. So I, I can't say I've ever really had specific training that prepared me for management or operations. When I got to Foreman Fitness, the director of the sports performance area, his name was Scott Seinold, and he took me under his wing and allowed me to just learn from him. And he was such a igniting presence, and you just gravitation. You just wanted to be around him all the time. So he took me under his wing and showed me how much fun you could have and how rewarding it was to be there. And that is really, I think, my starting point, is where I just turned into a people person, where I just wanted to learn from people and attach to people. And I like kind of talked about it, like I nudged and forced my way to be, to have people be my mentor. And that's what really, really helped me grow, because they taught me how to learn from their experiences and what they did. And then I could trial and error about what they did on my own, and learn what worked for me, what didn't work for me. But really, it was people, and it was my mentors that really got me to that place. But you really have to want to learn and grow, and be willing to listen to people.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I've heard that from not just people within the fitness industry, but across all industries, that one of the biggest things that can help you develop within your professional journey is surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals, and specifically seeking out a mentor. But I think one thing that would be interesting is kind of breaking down that process, because I think maybe some people get in their head too much and might make finding a mentor a little bit more they just don't know where to start, what that process is like. Did you go and just talk to someone, hey, you want to be my mentor? How would you explain like how it worked for you as far as kind of going out there and developing that relationship with your mentors?
Sure. For me, I think I was blessed with a personality that is loud and likes to have a lot of fun, smiling, is always always looking to be with people and be a part of people's lives. So and then on top of that, I think the skill that I most covet is just my unrelenting want to learn and grow. So kind of putting those two things together, I was really just able to find people that that ultimately wanted to spend time with me, and they saw the potential and they saw the opportunity. But it was because you have to be out there, and you have to be able to be open, honest, and really the fact that it's not necessarily about you. And I would say one early part of my career was, I thought that the only way that you really learned was by reading, researching, studying, and that was it. And that is totally not me. I don't sit still for more than 5 seconds at a time. And so for me, I wanted to find really other ways to do that. And for me, it was people. And so I was able to, when I got to MVP Sports Clubs in Michigan, I had a regional general manager, Benny Hardwin, who was a phenomenal mentor of mine. And it came because I was training his son, and he saw his son having a great time and, got great results and whatever. And sure enough, he started just taking me under his wing. Hey, I want you to learn more about this. I want you to see those bigger pictures. And so it just came from, again, just being personable out there and willing to really invest in other people.
Yeah, so what I'm taking away is just don't be shy, go approach people, take advantage of just the fact that you want to learn. And if people see that you're hardworking and learning, they'll gravitate towards that spirit.
Yeah, and I think what this actually just happened recently for me, because as I continue to grow, I want to find other people that want to continue to grow me as well in different facets. So I actually reached out to another mentor of mine to see if he would if I could intern with him and start learning a little bit more of consulting and how to relate what I know to other people's businesses and whatever. But you have to, one, be able to build a relationship, of course, but two, be able to ask the question. And ultimately for me, show value to the other person. Like, why is it beneficial for me to be underneath your wing? What can you get out of it as well? Because I know I'm going to get a lot out of it, and being able to relate that to them too.
Derek, I think you were gonna jump in with a piece there.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just going to add on. So, like, I can definitely assure you that this spans across any industries, whatever industry you're in. I came from a little bit of an unorthodox background in financial services, exactly the same. I was actually going to ask you a question, Jacob, but you actually answered it right there. Is oftentimes people often wait for a mentor for come to them, but as you had just mentioned, you would actually, correct me if I'm wrong, Jacob, encourage them to reach out to someone who maybe they're, it's a profile or some kind of position they'd like to have. And would you say, Jacob, from your experience, that the majority of people are actually more than open to that opportunity to help you grow?
Yes, I've been amazed, especially in the fitness industry, amazed the number of people that are willing to just share and take time with you, and from all across the world. I mean, they're everywhere, and the amount of time they've spent with me has been phenomenal. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And yeah, and the other, I think that's huge. Kind of going into learning in general, though. Any tips that you would provide as far as it's somebody who's in training at the moment. Now they're trying to break down a process for them on how can I advance my career, move from where I'm at the moment, and whether it is, developing creating their own business and not working within a facility and getting their own clients, maybe opening their own studio, or going into management. How would you kind of advise them as far as what is a systematic way that they can think about taking the next steps in order to help realize those goals?
Yeah, I think so much of this business is relationship building. And really, I think in all industries, it's even more so becoming that about the experience and about the connection and all that. So, where I would start, for me, one of the first books I read by Patrick Lencioni was that Ideal Team Player. And he really emphasizes those three key attributes for employees: and humble, hungry, and people smart. And I think he breaks it down so simplicitly, or simply, that I think it's a great starting point for people to realize that everyone can be a great teammate. And if you can start by being a great teammate, you'll start realizing the opportunities that are potentially in front of you. And that's, I think, where we get stuck so many times is, I'm a personal trainer. I just train my clients and I get out. Or I'm a membership person. I just sign people up and that's it. I don't really worry about the rest. And this is where we can start realizing how organizations truly work when you can be a great teammate and you're willing to work for the bigger picture and ultimately be able to see that bigger picture a lot clearer. So I would say number one is be that teammate. First and foremost, be a great teammate. And then you can start understanding what you think is going to be the great avenue for you moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think kind of piggybacking on that one for uh, for me as well. One of the big things that I also heard about, from others who were recommending, different books as well and getting started. So much of it was the relationships that you have with people, how to be a team influencer. And one of the early books recommended to me in my career was How to Win Friends and Influence People. So I think that that's fundamental to anything that you're doing.
Great.
Awesome. Yeah. So gonna go ahead and just kind of turn it more into skills in that. So I think we already talked about a bit about what what book and that in order to help develop the people aspect of it. Is there any core skills that you think that somebody should develop, a new owner, somebody who might have just stepped into management, in order to hone in order to be successful?
Sure. I think the first and foremost, what we do, especially here, and is we want to understand the strengths and weaknesses of yourself. What are you good at? What makes you tick, and what strengths do you bring to your team? And then on the other side of the coin, what are the strengths and weaknesses of your team, and how do they fit in there? And so what we do is we actually do a DISC personality profile on each one of our candidates that we have for different positions with the club, because we want to see what environment is going to make them the most successful, and what also are they going to struggle in, and then just ultimately what kind of personality do they have. We want to put a little face with the name even sometimes before they get inside of the room with us, and then from there we can start building on what specific roles they have inside of the management team. And so you have, the doer, the idea person, the strategist. You have the person that's super detail oriented, and all those different things, how they work together and create a true team atmosphere to be able to really grow and move forward. And a lot of times we get stuck hiring people that are just like us. And I think being able to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are, and really what you need on your team to be able to continue to grow them, and not just be, everybody's the idea person and nobody's the implementer, you're going to struggle. So that's where we start. We do that with our team, the DISC personality profile. Then I actually do it with my management team, so that each one of them has their own DISC personality and what they struggle with, and where their strengths are going to be. And then they're starting to get that down to their teams as well. And then when we bring in a new person, we train and we work on that as well, so that everybody understands kind of where that fit is. And the one that we're currently getting into now is the leadership book. And again, kind of going into the idea creator and the implementer, and some of those things too. Now really even putting those into places a little bit more for people. So one, having the people in the right role, but then making sure even in that right role, what are their duties inside of the management team to help it grow and help it be successful as well.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And for those who aren't familiar with the DISC personality assessment, can you break that down quickly as far as what that is, where they can have get access to that?
Sure. We actually use Tony Robbins' DISC profile. And so it's you can do a free version, which is right online. You can go right to Tony Robbins DISC assessment and be able to do it. And you get a free, I think it's like a 9-page printout or a PDF. And it kind of goes through, again, the overall synopsis of what the DISC formula is, from the driver to the interactive person and compassionate person and those kind of things, the steady person. And then also breaks down again into where they're going to be successful, what atmospheres are going to be best for them, and just some of their attributes that are common for a personality profile like that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that every single person fits perfectly inside of it, but I would say that 98% of what comes from that is a very, very accurate piece. And then you can also, if you want to go even deeper, you can pay a little bit to get like a 59-page, really comprehensive write-up about that person's DISC personality. It goes into much deeper detail about their adaptive personality, and then their natural personality. So what they're going to be like when they're being watched, and then what they're going to be like essentially when they're not being watched, to understand what that looks like as well. A good example is my wife, who's my group fitness director. She is more of a introvert, right? And that would be more of her natural style. So when nobody's watching, she wants to just be calm, cool, collected, hang out by herself. But she's my group fitness director. So when she gets in front of an audience, she is light on fire, wild, crazy, motivating, a completely different person. That's her adaptive style. So it's interesting to learn what different styles people have, even adaptive and natural as well. And so that gives it to you too.
Oh, that's cool. And do you use this as part of the hiring process, or is this after somebody who is onboarded to the team?
It is part of the hiring process, one, it's a little bit of an obstacle for us so that, hey, somebody's interested in the job. We want them to do something to show that they're really interested in the job instead of just sending their application. So that's the first part. So it's a little barrier. And then also it allows us to have a little personality on the person before they walk in our door. What kind of person are we going to get? What kind of questions can we start formulating a little bit based on this information just to get an appreciation for who they really are?
Yeah, I think that's huge. I'm not sure if it's covered within there, but I think COVID has put us in a position to where, right now, personalities are being tested. I think, I've heard of the term before. I'm not sure if you guys have heard it, but you have your wartime CEOs and your peacetime CEOs, and it's just about what type of environments do you thrive in as a leader and as a professional. And I think that, kind of looking at the situation now, we're in a spot where it's unprecedented times, and the way that we've been talking about it in our last webinars is almost relating this to the recession of 2008 and the recession before that, and how it's putting a stress on the fitness industry. Fortunately, the past two recessions haven't had a negative impact on the fitness industry, but I think that this particular time, it's different. We can obviously see that with what's happening at the moment, closures, reopening that are now going into reversals of reopening, and fitness businesses going out. We can see that it's different this time. There are things that are impacting the fitness industry in a negative way, and there is difficulties, to say it lightly, that we're seeing. And I think that one of the other things, as a technology company, this is also the first time that we're seeing competition, who is unprecedented, that hasn't been there before. Providers like Peloton, founded in 2012, kind of offering a different style of engaging with our members and competing for that member from us as well. And now that they're at home, we all can see what's in the news, and their businesses are thriving. So it's definitely a different change of scene, and very challenging. For yourself, Jacob, what changed for you when COVID came on the scenes, and how did that look for you, and what was your processing when the facilities were closing and COVID was kind of running rampant?
It was the thing, I'll never forget it. Probably one of the lowest feeling points of my life. That pit of your stomach feeling is when I had to talk to my team about closing, and it was surreal to be like, hey, we are going to be closing, and ultimately, we're going to, at this point, furlough everyone, and we're going to try to do everything we can to get you guys back, and all of that. So it just changed that. And then, as I discussed before, like, my wife and I both work here, and so for us, it was even scarier. It was our life that it was. So that's really, for me, it just turned so surreal, and so like feeling like it was desperation for me.
And yeah, I mean, that's terrible. And I'm sure that, others were in similar situations as well. How has that changed, and what has been your response as you've been going through the different phases that COVID has had on and impacted in businesses?
Well, after I bawled my eyes out, probably for a couple days, maybe a week, that sadness just started to fuel that determination to make sure, one, my employees, and make sure that the business can reopen and I can bring my employees back, and we can get there. And then the other side was for my owners, and that determination to not let them down and to have a successful business again. As most people were doing fantastic before the shutdown, and we were in that place too, where we're like, man, numbers are, rising, and we're feeling great, and we're making changes and doing all this stuff. How do we get back to that? So, so with that determination, it was where do I get information, and where do I start figuring out how we do this? And Man, the fitness industry has been amazing. The amount of information that's been out there, webinars, articles, owners willing to discuss, operators willing to discuss, deep insights, ideas, everything happening during this difficult time has been unreal. And for me, I've been blessed with the opportunity to be a part of Rex Roundtable. We have a Rex Roundtable GM group that's been amazing, and then I also have been able to be a part of this great FitBiz Fam happy hour group that we started it the Thursday when everybody shut down, and so from both a personal standpoint, just to have somebody to talk to about things happen in personal life, but then also business as well. And in both of those worlds, some of the most best minds in the industry and truly caring people. And that's what we've been able to see through this, is how much people care. And so that was my ultimate response, is I just want to continue to show as much care as possible, and appreciation for what we had before and how to be able to get there. But that determination and that drive was the number one fueling force.
Yeah, I think that's great. And there's a question that came in from one of the attendees before we jumped in, which was, with kind of the midst of where we're in at the moment, and talking about succeeding. Question here is, how do they go beyond just kind of making it by? How can they scale their fitness business in the midst of everything that's happening?
I think first is really taking care of everything in-house as best as you can. Our main focus for this, we had two main focuses really during shutdown. Was one, how do we keep engaged with our employees, and how do we keep engaged with our members? And if you can just stay engaged and take care of the people that are inside, those are already your biggest fans. And if you can take care of them, start there, I think that's where you're truly going to be able to be successful, because it seems on the other side of this, the people that are best taking care of their clients, their members, are the ones that are having the most success on the other side as well. And I'm seeing kind of future for it is, and it was always really important, but I think the member referral is going to be exponentially greater at this time, because people are paying attention to how they are getting treated during the shutdown, with the reopening, all of those different pieces, and really the communication part of that. So for me, scaling wise, it would be just take care of everything in-house as best you can first. And I think you'll be able to grow it from there.
Yeah, we maybe digging in on that a little bit more. This way, we can share a little bit about what your referral process looks like. I think that piece is huge. We always hear, people say, yeah, the importance of referrals within any business, but maybe they don't actually know how to actually execute that. Can you walk us through what your referral program looks like, so that this way somebody who's listening and maybe questioning, theirs haven't put one in place yet formally, how they can kind of go about?
Absolutely. So for referral, first we start right at sign up, and a lot of clubs do it that way, where, hey, give me some referrals. When you first sign up, we give a free week pass for any of those referrals to come try it with friends, and then from there, if they don't give at that time, our goal is to continue to follow up with that person, whether it be through our fitness consultation, from the membership person, really significantly in those first 30 days. So we do 4 follow-ups in those first 30 days, and really they're all just wellness checks. How you doing? How's the club going so far? If they did, hopefully everybody does the fitness consultation. How'd that go for you? And then on top of that, at that 30-day mark, we're asking again to be like, hey, it looks like you're really enjoying the club from everything we've talked about. Do you think anybody else would really enjoy coming to work out with you? They would get the benefits that you've seen, or you see the results that you've gotten so far in your first 30 days, and retracking that. And then from an actual, like what we give for a member referral is we have the standard $25 gift card, and that's kind of our runs all year round kind of idea. And then we put specials in. How do we ignite opportunities for people in different areas that would make them want to do it? So one might be group exercise, is one that when we kind of get back to some normalcy a little bit more, is, hey, we're going to do your members can bring in a friend for the month of June, and it's for all group exercise classes. And we'll have some, kind of fun giveaway for it or whatever. And then really for the people that sign up, there'll be a special member referral. Hey, here's a swag bag of a water bottle and a t-shirt or what, some kind of fun things that finds a way to re-engage people instead of, I think where people get stuck is, hey, it's just the normal member referral and here's a $25 gift card or here's this for it or whatever, and don't really have variety to it. So we try to add variety. So group exercise is one. We'll do another one through personal training. Then we have kind of our big ones, which are we work with local businesses and do $50 gift cards for local businesses. And it's kind of our big gift to all of our members, all of our active members. We give each of them 2 1-month 1-month free passes for their friends to be able to use. And one, in our Medallia surveys, the number one thing that gets requested is they want more guest passes and some of that. So it's to appease that, like, hey, this is the time to do it. Get them in. It's a full month to try it out. They can work out with you. And we do it during our busy times in January and February to be able to do that. And then it also allows us to be able to have that member referral opportunity in there as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think maybe a question in there. It's not exactly a perfect segue, but it's definitely it's a question we got from Mark, and I think one of the aspects, there's many uncertainties, right? And one of the uncertainties that Mark is directly referencing during the entire situation is basically how, regulation is governing us, right? And in the case of Mark, in New Jersey, they had a very specific communication that they got several weeks ago, probably. And then basically yesterday got a completely different message. So I imagine that communication is really big for you, Jacob, currently with the members. And how frequently, I guess, are you communicating with them just to make sure they're update, not just with these necessarily promotions or engagement strategies, but also just to keep them informed? Because I mean, many of them are eager to get back in.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was us. It really, like I said, started for us right at shutdown. Our biggest thing was how do we keep them engaged? And so we kind of let the dust settle a little bit. And so I think it was about 2 weeks after we shut down fully, we had all of my management team call every single one of our members. And it was really just a wellness check. How are you guys doing? How can we help you? Are you able to get workouts in still? What can we do to still be a resource for you during this time? And then also we wanted to make sure our communication with them was strong moving forward. So we updated their contact information and made sure, hey, we have the right email for you, the right address, the right phone number, so that we can make sure that we're getting communication out to you so you know what's going on. And how we did the calling is we started with the people that were most recently checked in. We started with them as our first calls. And we went all the way back to people that checked in since September 1st, 2019. For us, that was about 2,500 members during that time that we called every single one of them to be able to do that, called them in order. And each manager split up the entire call list. And then on top of that, we tracked it so that everybody could see who was getting called, the responses that we were getting. We tracked it on a Google Sheet so that everybody could see it and everybody has, kind of that interactive look at it. And then we even ran some competitions with my managers that they won coffee hand delivered by me for whoever made the most calls. They were all doing calls from their house. So my reward to them was I came out and dropped off their favorite cup of coffee from their favorite place and kind of had fun with my team on that a little bit too, to be able to kind of just, have those good vibes continuing during that time. So that was one huge one that we did. And then we did workout videos. Just before we shut down, we kind of saw the progression happening that we were going to shut down based on other states. We created about 15 workout videos in 2 days. And how we were just going to every week, every couple days, start sending out those workout videos from trainers, from Group X people. We created like a cooking class with my fitness director, who's a nutritionist. Also, our virtual group exercise classes started about 4 weeks after we were shut down. Virtual personal training options. We rented out equipment for our members to be able to get workouts in at home, whether it be group exercise equipment or just regular equipment. And then we had just fun, uplifting live meetings. My group fitness director and one of my personal trainers started a Friday. I'm not even sure exactly what they called it now that I think about it, but it's just, they're just talking about, how to keep people in good spirits and they have fun and some of those. And so we just wanted to have fun with people and show the happy side of things as best we could, even though it was a dark and scary time for a lot of people. So I guess the last part we did is we really did weekly updates. Every single week we sent out an email. The first email we sent was our We Miss You campaign. And we created a collage. I sent out a message to all of my staff to take a picture of what they missed about members or what they missed about the club and write it down on a piece of paper and take a picture of themselves and send it to me. And we created a collage from that and put it into an email and just talked about how much we miss them, the members, and doing what we were doing to try to get ourselves back up and running and the challenges we were facing. Being really transparent during this time, I thought was really, really important for us as well. And then last but not least, really kind of getting to the reopening side of things is we created what we call our Trust and Care campaign, which I stole from a lot of people in the industry, Kate Golden at Newtown and also Bill McBride and those guys that have been on some great webinars out there. And we started it, we really broke it down to 4 videos. And it started with the foundation and mission, which really was about where we are, what we believe in, why we're here as a business, and how that is going to be our driving force on how we get to the other side. And then what to expect when you return. We're already taking videos of all the changes that we made and the protocols we were putting together and really just how that looks. And then we really delved deep. We did another one that we dove deep into the health and safety strategies that we did. And really we're specific about, hey, this is exactly what you're going to see and what we're working on. And you might not see all these things, but this is what we did. And then the last one was, how do we really create more trust with our members? And our members, just to come back and feel safe and feel like it's going to be a healthy atmosphere for them to be in. So we did member testimonials from people that did virtual classes while we were shut down, people that came back and they were really scared to come back. They even had people telling them that they shouldn't come back to the club yet. And instead, hey, I came back and I am so comfortable with this space. And so we do, right now we're doing at least one testimonial, really 2 testimonials a week from people, different age levels and different demographics and everything, just to show our complete face that we have here. And really, again, the whole goal of it and how we're talking to our members about it is we want to bring our members back. We want our members to feel comfortable coming back. That's our number one objective. And so our videos are really detailed towards that. And ultimately it does turn into a marketing piece for us and we're able to promote that, which is awesome, but it really is driven towards the idea, how can we get our members back in the club?
Yeah, that was awesome. There was a couple questions that came through as well that, are related to reopening and I think are interesting just because it's about, I know there needs to be some flexibility, but I'm curious to see what you think about this question. So the question that came in is, do I keep adjusting my space and distance requirements with every new statement? So that the WHO is putting out, talking about how droplets can extend past the 6-foot rule and that. And what would your advice be for kind of taking, some of these pieces of news and working them into the plan,
Sure.
if at all? Yeah.
Yeah, first I would say it's about what your local government is giving you. Make sure you're following those. Those are being addressed like crazy. People are looking for those things being done. So I would say that's the number one. Make sure you're following that. And then as you see some progressions happening, especially with like the World Health Organization with that, it's almost impossible to do a complete rearrange of your space again. And I think people can have confidence that the fitness industry is really doing a lot to ensure that we're staying safe, and we're disinfecting and sanitizing touch points, and we've installed foot pedals to open doors and those kind of things. So have confidence in the protocols you put together initially, and I would say continue to follow those, because we are doing a lot. And if you compare it to a lot of other businesses, we've been in, you know, the Walmarts and the Home Depots and grocery stores and liquor stores and those kind of things that aren't doing anywhere near the amount that we are. So really, I would say stay confident with what you're doing, and don't let your staff slack. That is, I think, as you kind of get a month out, 2 months out from reopening, and that you know, it just tends to happen. It's not what we've been programmed to do before all this. So we need to continue to program our people to stay on top of it and looking for how make sure we're disinfecting, doing all those protocols that we've always done. But I think as we continue to stay on top of those things, that's where we'll continue to see that the fitness industry is doing a good job with that.
Yeah. Brooklyn asked a great follow-up question, which is, you know, with the measures that you've taken for reopening, have you encountered any negative feedback on the process from members or anybody within the community? And if so, how did you respond?
We were really nervous about it because we were reopening. We were the first club that reopened here in the area, and that was really scary. We've seen other clubs open around the country that were first open, and they got blasted. So we were very nervous about that idea, and we put it out there. We put our videos out there for the public to be able to see everything that we did. Again, for us, it was the transparency that I think did a lot, and we were blessed from like a social media standpoint, and really from our member standpoint, we really didn't get much feedback, negative feedback in regards to that. Where we did get negative feedback, it was really our own processes that ultimately the process we put into place weren't really designed to be used like this. So we did the reservation system, and our portal wasn't extremely friendly to be able to be utilized. And so that was a little bit cumbersome in the initial week or two, but once we got past most of those issues, that was fine. We rearranged equipment, and people were like, oh, well, I want to do all my chest at one time. Well, we have dumbbells in the free weight area in one spot and machines in another spot. So people are like, well, I can't get my workout as normal, kind of idea. And then, we still had places that were closed: sauna, steam room, whirlpool. We had those closed for a month and a half. We've now reopened them with a certain number of people in there, so you have to make reservations for that. So people were a little, I wish all my amenities were available, but more so it was positive feedback. People just wanted to get back into the club and were excited to be open and to see all the things that we did. And they knew what they were expecting when they came in the door, which I think went a long way.
Awesome.
Yeah, so Caitlin, I think maybe just a quick follow-up to that. So we basically talking about, bringing members back into the door. There's kind of like this questions on the back of a lot of people's mind, and I forget exactly who asked it, but it was Brooklyn as well. So Brooklyn, props to you. You're asking a bunch of great questions for us. Basically acknowledging the fact that a lot of people were fearful with these additional spikes in cases in the US. Are you already kind of factoring that in? Maybe even potentially opening or planning your opening kind of a bit slower to kind of compensate for that? Or
yeah, I would definitely say that, and I would say that we're taking so much information from the rest of the industry that what are people in other places doing, and how is it going there? What issues are they seeing? I think the Rex Roundtable group has done a great job of gathering information and really seeing how bad is it in the gym space, in the fitness facilities, and being able to just continue to make progressions from there. And man, everything's changing minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, and week by week. It seems to be extremely that is not happening. It's so much faster than that. So the flexibility and just being willing to change course, you got to be ready for that. And it's going to happen, and there's going to be continuing to be things there, but just continue to have caution with what you do, but have confidence in that as well. Because if you work hard at it and you're honest and open and transparent, people are going to be really appreciative of your efforts.
Nice. And at this point, guys, Feel free. We're gonna open up the ability in order to jump in and chat. So if you had a question and it's like a multi-pronged question that you wanna go ahead and get in there, feel free and use the raise your hand functionality. Literally just looks like a little a little hand on here. So if you click on that, then it'll allow you to go ahead and uh, notify us. And what we'll do is we'll unmute you. This way you can go ahead and ask a question while we wait for some other questions and additionally those hands to go up. Derek, as you were going through, I saw that the chat's kind of lighting up, on my end, but obviously didn't have the chance in order to go through. What was the dialogue happening in there? Or some questions that haven't been answered as you were going through?
Yeah, well, I think where we really had good dialogue was when you were talking about Tony Robbins and that tool. So we actually even had Diogo, who actually went on and found the link and shared it. So Diogo, thank you for sharing that. We had basically a couple attestations of other people who had used it and basically are validating everything you said, Jacob. So we have a lot of people that are agreeing with you. And then I think, yeah, I mean, we answered the main questions. People are, more worried about the unknown elements as you're talking about. So, regulation is something outside of our control. Spiking cases, we can take care of it, maybe each one of us individually and do our part, but obviously the macro level of it is outside of our control. So I think it's just coming back to that point that you're saying about being flexible. If I understood you correctly, it's also about communicating often and with basically updating people with all the information you have. And yeah, everyone knows that the information's a bit back and forth. But yeah, just have to keep a positive mentality. So if you look here at the most recent comment, Jacob, people are commenting on basically your optimism and your positivity. I'm sure that reflects with your staff and your members as well.
Well, and I think that's interesting too. And kind of going into a little bit more of like what people can be a little bit worried about coming back out of this is your people, is your staff coming back. We're all feeling the stress and the uncertainty and the difficult times. And there are people, the stories that are happening out there are really, they're deep. They're really, really deep, and people have been affected so many ways by this. The team that you get back really isn't going to be the exact same team it was before. And for like our group, there was hostility, there was unfairness feelings, there was those kind of things during this time, and we needed to do a refocus and a recentering with our leadership. Started with our leadership team, and is really kind of going down from there. But the goal was to just find a space to be vulnerable. And this really came from from my FitBiz group, my happy hour group. Bill McBride started asking us these questions as kind of just for our group, and the personal stories and that came from it were amazing. But so we asked 3 questions. One, what was the paradigm that you recognized during quarantine? What did you realize in yourself? What did you realize in overall something that you learned? And then we used one word to positively describe one another, and a little description on why that word was used. So why, for me, maybe why positivity? Why would somebody say I'm positive? And they would do a little descriptor to kind of create that uplifting feel as well. And it was interesting, just from those 2 questions, we had tears all over the place. We were passing Kleenex around the room, and people just needed to let out some of those feelings and emotions in that vulnerability place. And then the last one was a life story. And I started it with my life story. And it was really about my positive attributes that I have, and also negative attributes, and where those came from. What situations in my life did that come from, and how did it shape me? And then at the end of it, how does each person in the group relate with that? Or what do they take away from it? Or how do they see that in me? And it just allows people to let their guard back down, get rid of the barriers that have been in there, and create the opportunity for us to really move forward as a team again, and start working together, because you were so disconnected for so long. No matter how well you communicate, there's still going to be, it's not the same as it was before. You're not with them every single day, meeting with them and doing all that. So that was a really, for us, hugely impactful piece for us.
Awesome. And we had a hand go up as well as you were speaking. So Angela, I'm gonna go ahead and click on a button here that will allow you to talk. So now you're added in here, but you have to go through and personally unmute yourself as well. So if you go ahead and just go to your settings and unmute yourself. There you go. Yeah. Hey, Angelo. Can you hear us? I'm not sure if you're speaking at the moment, but we're not able to hear you from our end. I think I heard a phone ringing, but I'm not sure if that was from Angelo's line. All right, so maybe we can give him just a little bit of time in order to work out the mute. Yeah, I saw you just muted yourself again, Angelo. All right, let's try again. Anything now? No. Ah, man, that's a bit of a bummer. While we're sorting that out, I think Brooklyn put in another really great question. This one's going to be tough. I'm super curious to see how you're going to answer this one. I wonder if you saw it within there, but how have you dealt with the positive cases in the gym, and kind of giving that a little bit of background as well. One of the things that I think I saw is that an article on the responsibility for gyms and other businesses in order to be able to help with case tracking. So if somebody is positive, we have all of this data that's available in order for us to be able to to report it to the proper authorities and that. But additionally, you have this communication element of it as well, where how do you communicate it to your members without creating fear, but also making sure that they're informed? And I'm curious, kind of going off of that, have you had to deal with any positive cases? And even if you haven't, what's the protocol, at least, that you think your gym is going to follow in the event that you do?
Yeah, it's been a hot topic for us. We haven't had, from a member standpoint, haven't had any cases. We just today got our first positive employee test. The unfortunate problem with it is it's been 11 days since the employee has been in the club and got tested right away and didn't get a result until today, which is, like I said, been 11 days. So we called the local health department here, and the person actually doesn't live in this county. So what we found out is the county will be contacting that employee. They'll do an interview with them, and then once the interview kind of happens, they will reach out to that county's health department will reach out to our health department, because they'll say, hey, we work at the club, and then they'll reach out to me, and then we'll talk about, okay, here's a strategy on tracing and those kind of things. But everything that we've heard from other clubs that have had it is that the health department really takes over in regards to that communication, talks to you about how to communicate properly, how they're going to be tracing it, what data you need to give to them to be able to, hey, what people were they in contact with, and some of that. But really, look, for us, the health department is really taking the head towards that. So we're thankful nobody else has had any symptoms, the 11 days since the person hasn't been here. And so we're hopeful that continues, but we're going to continue to follow the guidelines from the health department. And we're just kind of in the initial stages of it, but it really sounds like they're going to be taking the lead on most of that communication.
Okay, it sounds like it's very new, and I'm not sure if they've shared all of the information that they're gonna need at the moment. Was there anything that they've at this point that they've asked for, which is specific, like their check-ins, anybody else who checked in at the same time, classes?
Right now, not yet. They said they were going to be contacting me probably towards the end of the week, which was a little bit surprising to me. Like, for me, I'm like, I've been freaking out, like, okay, what do we do? What's going to happen? He's like, we'll contact you and we'll get it worked out, and we'll answer any questions that you have and any information we need. But they were really laid back about it a little bit more than I expected. And I'm sure this is something they've dealt with a lot more, and they know it. But for me, it was nerve wracking. It's been nerve wracking, and but ultimately, what we're at least so far confident in is that nobody else has had symptoms, and that our protocols have really been up to par to be able to continue with that. So, but we have all the information ready. I have all the check-ins ready to go. I have anybody that they met with and those kind of things. I have it all ready in case they do ask for that info. So we try to prepare it as much as we can ahead of time.
Awesome. And then I don't think we had any luck with Angelo's. Sorry about that, Angelo. And we're looking forward to getting that question within here. If it's possible, maybe you can go ahead and use the chat area in order to go ahead and highlight the question. We'll do the best we can in order to get to it.
Kaylin, just in the meantime, maybe one quick reminder for everyone. So I sent out the link in the chat, but many people were interested in hearing more about Stronger Together. Tomorrow we'll be doing a webinar where we'll be discussing basically the launch of it. So there's a link in there for those who are interested in registering.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. So that'll be tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central Time. So looking forward to seeing everybody there. With that kind of being said, that kind of takes us to the end of the schedule time. If there's any other final questions that we didn't get to, or you have a last minute question, feel free and throw that in here now. Otherwise, yeah, this is it, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to say thank you, Jacob, again, for taking the time in order to not only share the measures that you're taking during COVID and providing that really valuable information with everybody, but also sharing a bit about your background and those who are developing within their careers as well, and we can take inspiration from that as well.
Yeah, and I can assure you that it's not just Kayleen mentioned that, so I also want to thank you. And if you have the time, if you're able to actually go through the chats, I know you're probably not focusing on them. You definitely got a lot of shout outs there as well. So much appreciated the content you're able to share with everyone.
Thank you so much, guys. It was awesome. So glad to be able to give back to the fitness industry. It's been so rewarding during this time to have so many people to rely on and things like this. So I couldn't wait to be part of it. And thanks for the invite. It's been awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks again. Take care, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow for the Stronger Together webinar. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.